Hello guys, and welcome to my review of the Sony WH-1000Xm3. This is the third generation of a very popular and successful 1000X lineup. So here's a rundown of the box here. It's kind of the same overall design of the Gen 2s. You got a nice presentation of the side of the headphone. These have the high-res audio stamp, 30 hours of battery life with active noise cancellation and Bluetooth enabled. It's the wireless and noise canceling badges. On the back you get a rundown of the features. For the most part, the feature set is pretty similar in terms of the touch controls. The downer is that these do not connect to multiple devices at the time of this review, so you kind of have to switch between devices, so you can't really have your phone and your laptop, for example, connected simultaneously with this. The microphone should be improved. It has, I believe, it's a dual way or triple way setup that also includes active noise cancellation within the mic, so it should be able to block out ambient noises while you're on phone calls. You can get a 10-minute charge and receive 5 hours of playtime, which is amazing, thanks to the USB-C connection standard that they've chosen now. But for the most part, the main design changes is in the physical construction of the headphones. It's far more ergonomic and comfortable as a result. Looking at the carrying case, I do like the design changes that Sony has chosen here. Being that this is the black model with the copper accents, as you can see over here. The zipper kind of matches that as well. It's a nice touch. On the back, you do have a compartment to kind of store cables or anything else that can probably fit there. Opening up the case, you can see that the WH-1000Xm3 is nicely seated in here. It has a compartment as well for your standard 3.5mm interface. You also have a compartment for the USB-C charging cable. At this time of the review, you cannot use this for audio playback, so for some headphones like the Bowers & Wilkins PX back there in the middle, you can use the USB-C cable to transmit digital audio from your source directly into the headphones, giving you the maximum possible sound quality. Let's take the headphones out, and they fold up pretty similar to the previous generations. Now, as you can see here, inside the case, it does give you a layout diagram, which lets you know how to fold them up. And also, I nearly forgot, there is an airplane adapter that's also tucked into these compartments here. So this compartment here is pretty efficient in terms of taking the essentials with you while you also have the case. So the price at the time of this review is thankfully the same price as how the Gen 2 and the Gen 1 1000X started off, and that's $349 US. Design-wise, these are where most of the changes lay. These are far more comfortable than the Gen 2s and the Gen 1s. The ear cups are a lot roomier, and I feel like the ear pads as well are a bit softer, as well as on the top of the headband. There's no longer that steel overlay. It's just pure artificial leather. It's very, very soft, and the headband is a lot more contoured to your head, so it fits the size of your head well, so it doesn't stick out and create that bulky look. So it's a very streamlined design, and the comfort for me now easily matches my Bose Quiet Comfort 35 Mark IIs in the back there, or maybe even surpasses that, which is a incredible statement. The build quality seems pretty good. By feeling it here, I do feel like I can have some kind of confidence in the durability of these headphones. I still won't throw these in a bag by themselves. I would definitely want to put them in the case. But I did hear a lot of issues with the headbands cracking, especially around this point with my fingers tapping. I didn't have that issue with my Gen 1s or my Gen 2s, so I do feel pretty confident with the durability of the Gen 3s. They did, however, take away a lot of design cues that I kind of preferred. I did like that textured pattern on the ear cups. Even though it was a artificial leather, it did exude a bit more luxury, in my opinion. Now, it's kind of a fat a flat plastic design. So it's kind of smooth here. There's no real tactile feedback when you're using the touch controls, but they still work well in terms of the functionality. I don't really feel like the touch controls fell in terms of responsiveness. It's just I did like the textured feel of the artificial leather, but I guess that's the way Sony wanted to maybe reduce the weight and possibly the footprint of the Gen 3s over the Gen 2 and Gen 1. But it's still a very nice, sleek, understated, business-like design that I do enjoy. Anyone can kind of wear this. Doesn't really matter which outfit you're wearing. These will go well with that outfit. So on the left side, you do have the power button and your noise cancellation, as well as the ambient control, which allows you to turn the microphones in reverse, pick up your ambient sound, pipe them in through the audio, so you'll be able to have some kind of awareness of your surroundings while you're using the headphones. This is pretty good for if you're jogging outside, or if you want to hear your surroundings. Maybe you're at work in an office, or you want to hear the announcements from a train, or the flight attendants or the flight crew. It's a pretty useful feature. You still have the cup. If you put your hand over here, you can hear everything around you as long as you have your hand over the right ear cup. This is by far one of the most useful features on a wireless headphone. I'm glad Sony kept that. On the right side, you have your USB-C interface. Like I said before, this is not for data connectivity, so you cannot stream audio into this USB-C port like the Bowers & Wilkins PX can in the back. I do also believe the Neurophones over here can do that. If you get the USB-C cable, you can stream audio directly into the digital to analog converter in those headphones. So it's the Neurophones and the Bowers & Wilkins that can use the USB-C interface for digital connectivity. Headband adjustment is pretty standard. It has clicks per extension, so you can get that exact fit. Feels pretty rigid, very nice, very smooth. I don't feel any rattle or any jankiness that can indicate that these will break. So it's a very nice integration into the headphones. Ear cups swivel and pivot very smoothly. And just to reinstate what I've said earlier, the comfort on these is easily on par with the Bose. It's better than the Bowers & Wilkins. It's better than the Neurophones. And it's a much big improvement in terms of comparisons to the Gen 2 and the Gen 1 for the Sony WH-1000X lineup. Going over the battery life more in depth, you can get about 30 hours, typical usage case scenarios. The higher the volume, depending on what kind of music you're playing, it could differentiate. You may not get the 30 hours, you may get more than 30 hours, but for me, I've been getting roughly the 30-hour claim, probably a little bit over sometimes, a little bit under, but these are very, very, very high in endurance. You can get through probably 2 weeks on average use with these headphones if you don't use them that much without charging them. Battery life on these is excellent, and the fact that you can get 5 hours from 10 minutes of a quick charge, and a quick charge, once again, you have to use a AC adapter pretty much. If you use an AC adapter and you plug this into your headphones, you can get that quick charge feature activated. But if you plug it into your computer, usually the computer's USB ports are limited to about 500 milliamps, so you're not going to get that full power delivery to the headphones. But yeah, 30 hours and quick charge, battery life is excellent. I have no complaints, especially in this day and age where a lot of wireless headphones are basically held back because of their battery life. The Sony WH-1000Xm3 easily nails that category. Bluetooth codec support. Once again, these have not been known to slack off on that specific category. These pretty much support all the codecs that I know of except aptX low latency. So you're going to get support for SBC, which is standard for all Bluetooth devices. You get support for AAC, which is great for Apple's devices. You get support for aptX, aptX HD, as well as Sony's LDAC codec. So you're going to be not worrying about your audio quality transmission over Bluetooth. And if you have an Android device that's running Android Oreo or 8.0 and later, you're probably going to have support for Sony's LDAC. So I would definitely have nothing to worry about in terms of the Bluetooth codecs. Now, in terms of latency with videos, these are pretty synced. I don't have much issues with the voices sounding out of sync with the audio. So they do pretty well there. But if you're gaming, you are definitely going to notice the latency. And this is where aptX low latency is particularly useful for. And that's the only codec that I know of, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the Gen 3s for the W1000X lineup does not have. Feature set is through the roof on these headphones. I may not be able to cover all of this in this video. This is where this headphone is completely unmatched. So on the right ear cup, you pretty much all should be familiar with. It's a touch sensitive control here. Swiping right this way should skip forward your track. Swiping back that way should skip back a track. Swiping up increases volume, swiping down decreases volume, double tapping pauses or resumes your music playback. Pressing and holding should activate your voice assistants depending on which operating system you're using on your smartphone. There's probably other controls, maybe for like call playback and stuff like that. If you want to answer a call, it's kind of the same, you double tap. I guess if you want to hang up on the call, you'll double tap again while the call is in session. You could probably do some transfers and holds with the touch controls. So many things you could do with this. I do like touch controls more than the button controls that the rest of my heavy hitters over here in terms of active noise cancellation and wireless segment has. I do prefer the touch controls. I feel like I can manipulate the playbacks a lot quicker by just swiping. Other features that this headphone does have is the, like I stated before, if you put your hand over the right ear cup and hold, it will lower the audio for your music or any other media that you're playing and pipe in audio from your ambient. So suppose someone comes up to you and needs to get your attention, you just do that really quickly and you'll be able to hear them without taking the headphones off. This also has a optimizer, which is great for getting that kind of custom experience in terms of getting the most optimal noise cancellation experience. As well, if you're in a flight and you're at a much higher altitude, they also included a pressurized optimizer. So it's supposed to adjust the frequency response and the noise canceling of the headphones to compensate for the altitude that you're flying at. So there's a lot of technology that's built into this headphone. Since I'm pretty much improvising in this review, I'm going to try to see if I can think of other things that I may have forgotten, because these headphones are very feature rich. If I haven't forgot them, I'll probably post them in the comments below, or you can just let me know. But these are by far, I would just say, the most feature rich headphones you can buy. So, not really seeing any other features I can probably cover. So I think I probably missed out. There's a 3.5 millimeter input here. If you do want to plug in an auxiliary input, that the cables are provided with the case in case your headphones batteries die or you want to get the best possible audio transmission to your headphones. Now, call quality, Sony does claim that they have improved the microphones in this headphone. And I do notice a change in the audio quality in terms of calls. Callers do hear me a lot better in noisier environments. I did have a big issue with the Mark IIs and the Mark Is in terms of their call quality, but the Mark IIIs are definitely improved. You do get that kind of voice feedback where the microphones allow you to kind of hear yourself talking, so you're not going to scream into the mic because of the noise canceling. So the noise canceling does reduce and kind of give you a natural feel that you're actually talking without headphones on. So I do like that. Call quality, however, it's still not the best, but they did improve, and I do welcome that change. All right, let's get to the sound quality of the Mark IIIs. Starting off, I would say it's pretty similar to the Mark IIs. It has a warm, very forgiving sound signature. The bass is very punchy, very extended, probably a bit too boomy for my taste. It does overlap over the mid-range. The treble does have a slight attenuation, especially in the mid-treble, kind of like brings back some of the liveliness in the sound signature. But to describe more in detail, the bass does extend very well. all the way through the mid and upper bass is a very high elevation, and it kind of just slopes down into the mid-range, and as a result, like I said previously, it does kind of overstep its boundaries and makes some of the subtle details in the mid-range lost because of the high bass emphasis. Now, normally with this kind of sound signature where you boost the bass, it's very beneficial for headphones that you're taking outside, because that bass sort of like compensates for the ambient noises that you will receive when you're outside, and that bass normally kind of balances itself out. So I wouldn't really use these headphones in situations where they're going to be moving around a lot because of the issues with the active noise cancellation and not really being able to handle the pressure changes in the ear cups. And what's really happening is that the active noise cancellation is mistaking the audio from your music as noise, and it tries to cancel that out, and as a result distorts the entire music and pretty much instantaneously. Thankfully, like stated before, it is a brief moment, so it doesn't happen prolonged, so it'll just distort the music briefly for about a second or two, and then it will kick right back in and sound normal again. So in comparison to the other heavy hitters that I have here, in terms of that issue where the active noise cancellation doesn't know how to compensate for pressurized changes in the ear cups, the Bose does do that as well, but the Bose doesn't do it as easily as the Sony's. You really have to be very vigorous and moving a lot to cause the Bose to kind of trip up and mistake the music as the noise, and as a result distort the music. Bowers & Wilkins literally doesn't do that at all. I'm not sure how they've been able to engineer that, especially with the ear cup design, but the Bowers & Wilkins are not susceptible to distorting the music because of any vigorous activities or sudden changes in movement. The Neurophones do not do that at all, but that's probably because of their design. It does have an inner ear portion as well as an over ear, so it's a very tight seal, so the pressure doesn't really change at all. Because of the WH-1000Xm3, the noise cancellation on these is probably the best out of all the noise canceling headphones that I've used. So you don't really get that effect of ambient noises interfering with your music. You still get that dead silence when you're outside. So the bass for me is still overpowered when I'm outside because of the effectiveness of the noise canceling. So the cool thing is, in the application for your mobile device, you can definitely tweak the bass, reduce the bass. So you have controls over the tonal characteristics of this headphone. So in stock form is how I'm going to describe the sound. Moving over to the mid-range. The mid-range, it does take a few seats back. It's pulled back between the bass and the treble. So overall, this does have a sort of V-shaped sound signature. This is great for modern music. If you want to turn the volume up, you get a very lively sense of sound, and the dynamics are very punchy and engaging. But for an audiophile like me, I kind of hear this as sounding a bit unnatural. Once again, through the app, you can adjust the tonal balance of this headphone. Moving over to the treble, like stated before, it's a lively treble. It has a peak in the mid-treble response. The upper treble, however, is severely rolled off, similar to the Bowers & Wilkins PX. It does also have a rolled off upper treble. What this does is it causes the sound to kind of close in and not really have that grand sound stage and that grand feeling of someone actually performing the music in front of you. And it also kind of hurts the detail retrieval of these headphones because of the rolled off upper treble. You can kind of play around with the app to bring back the upper treble, but it isn't really going to pull back the details and the transient response and other factors in that nature that really brings alive a wide, expansive soundstage that you can get from a headphone that naturally has that tune-in. Despite the fact that you can control the tonal characteristics of this headphone, the technical abilities of this headphones in terms of the sound, which is something that you can't adjust in a software, which is like the transient response, the distortion levels, the phase shifts and all that, which has an impact on the soundstage. These headphones are pretty decent. I would still say that despite this headphone probably being the best overall headphone that you can buy for a wireless active noise canceling pair, it ticks all the features You have superb comfort. The active noise cancellation, to my opinion, is the best. The sound quality, however, is not the best, and it's surpassed by all three of those headphones. The Bose still has a clearer, cleaner sound. The Bowers & Wilkins PX still has a cleaner, more visceral, tighter, and clearer sound. And the Neurophones is like in its own category. It surpasses everything here in terms of the sound quality. The Neurophones are more detailed, they're more dynamic. They have a much bigger sound stage. They have much bigger headroom. They don't distort as easily. And one characteristics that I don't like with the Sonys that I've noticed is that they're very susceptible to vibrations from walking, or if you're on a bus or on a train, anything like that. If there's any sudden movements in the ear cups while the active noise cancellation is activated, it basically distorts the music briefly. But in conclusion, I would rate the WH-1000Xm3 as the best overall active noise canceling wireless bass headphones. It ticks all the features. The battery life is excellent. The comfort is excellent. The feature set is excellent. It has USB-C type connectivity, which is great because the majority of devices now are moving over to that standard. So it's getting more closer to that one charger for all devices. You have pretty useful on-device controls. You have the ability to manipulate your noise canceling, activate ambient controls, as well as if you want, you can just have this be your Google Assistant or Alexa, I believe. I'm not sure if it's out for the Mark III, but you can use this for smart control. So this headphone is smart ready, but do keep in mind, and I am an audiophile, so I do have to be honest and mention, these are not the best sounding. Like stated before, Neurophones here, Bowers & Wilkins PX, and the Bose QC35-2s. I believe that those three headphones sound better than the Mark IIIs. Now, a lot of you might say, how is this guy saying the Bose sounds better? Honestly, I would kind of put them on the same playing field, because the Bose has an issue, and the Bose issue is that if you play the Bose at max volume or near max volume, and it's pretty easy to do so because those headphones don't really get that loud, the Bose starts to distort in its treble. And none of the other headphones, even the Sonys, don't distort in the treble. So the Bose would have been significantly better than the Sonys if it didn't distort in the treble, but because of that, I kind of have to knock them down and kind of put them in the same playing field in terms of sound. The clarity in the Bose is still superior, in my opinion, to the Mark IIIs. I feel like the vocals are more evenly produced. There's not kind of a peaky sibilance range. They're more evenly produced alongside the bass, and the treble has more extension on the Bose. The Bowers & Wilkins is just better throughout the whole frequency range. The Bowers & Wilkins has a tighter bass. The bass doesn't really extend as well as the Sonys with the Bowers & Wilkins, but the clarity and the detail in the bass is superior to the Sonys. The mid-range as well, the liveliness and the clarity in the mid-range is also superior to the Sonys, as well as the treble extension and clarity is also superior to the Sonys. The Neurophones is superior to the Sonys in every sonic category. There's really no comparison. These headphones are just in their own league in terms of sound quality. But in terms of active noise cancellation, comfort, features, battery life, all of that, the Sony completely wipes those headphones out. There's nothing really touching the Sonys in terms of the complete package, but in terms of sound quality, there are better options. Now, if there is something I missed in this review, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. Thanks for watching this review, guys. Later.